Okay, I know this light is a little funky, but we're just gonna lean back, literally, and embrace it. I've learned a lot about myself, and I feel like more than ever have been reminded how little I know. Hello my friends, and welcome back to Cassie Paulsen Vlogs. I'm Cassie. This is my vlog channel where we talk about all things life. If you're new, hello. I'm 26. I live in New York City and I'm a barista by day, but I'm a very sentimental person. I love documenting my life. I love making art, and I think there's a lot to be learned in exploring your own psyche as well as the lives of others. I love watching vlogs. I love seeing what's going on in other people's lives. I've learned a lot through documenting my own too, so I'm very happy to have you. Today we are just sitting down and chatting. We're reaching the end of a year, the hardest year of my life. If you've been around for a sec, you will be very familiar with the many trials and tribulations I have encountered this year, including being diagnosed with Crohn's disease, going through a breakup, just like a crazy health journey, along with the regular confusion and disorientation that already comes with being in your 20s. There's a lot to be said for that experience already being extremely overwhelming, and adding these bonus trials on top of it this year made it a hard year. So I'm gonna do my little January intention setting video the first day of the new year, but since today's Sunday and it's my upload day, sorry the light's gonna be a little funky. I just figured natural lighting was best, and this is a chill vlog anyways. I've got acne. I didn't try and cover it. We're just vibing. But before I do some intention setting planning for the year ahead, I wanted to sit down and talk through some reflection. Reflection is an amazing place to start when we are trying to go somewhere new. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little lost right now after a really long year of a lot of suffering and struggle. I've learned a lot about myself and about life and about the world, and I feel like more than ever have been reminded how little I know. I thought for today that I could talk through with you some lessons that I feel like I've learned this year. I've isolated it into 5 things. I hope that they'll help you out. I hope that they will... Sorry, our dishwasher's running. I didn't think that through. There's also a clock ticking. I hope that me talking through and reflecting will provide perhaps a little window into some of the ways that your struggles may have helped you this year. I by no means am of the belief that everything happens for a reason, or that all of our struggles are put in our life to teach us something. Like, I think sometimes bad shit happens to people, and life is hard, and life is full of stress and suffering and struggle. However, I do think from just like a mental sanity perspective, for me at least, it can be useful to attempt to use retrospect to decipher how I grew in the face of adversity. And I think you can learn a lot about yourself when you investigate how you respond to trials or just the general lack of control that is inherent in life. By no means is this impressing upon you like to find the lessons in your hardships. Like, I think it's really legit and fair to be like, no, life is hard and that's just a fact. But as the year ends, I do like to just find some solace in the struggle and hopefully reveal some ways that I can be proud of myself, because I survived. I survived the hardest year of my life. Without further ado, here are 5 things I learned from the hardest and worst year of my life. Also, the lighting is slaying right now. The first lesson I learned was the power of breath. For much of this year, I struggled with intense chronic pain due to eventually Crohn's disease. I figured out was the reason. But for most of this year, I didn't know that that's why I was in extreme physical discomfort in so many ways. Back spasms, sores everywhere, swollen joints, hemorrhoids, just like tummy issues in general. So many ways my body was uncomfortable. Something that really helped me eventually was meditation and focusing on breath. I've done like varying breath work things, but the thing that I always come back to is breathing in for 3 and out for 5. I know there's also in for 4, out for 6, but for whatever reason 3 and 5 just like feels good for my body. And this is something that I have and do and will return to for the remainder of my life. If ever I am feeling physically, mentally, emotionally distressed, it's like a mental check-in for me to, okay, let's check in with my breath. And this does not mean that I'm gonna sit for an hour with my eyes closed doing this. This is something that I feel like I really realized how I can tap into at any point of the day, at any time. I can breathe. Like, breathing is something that's always accessible to us. I do it at work, I do it on the subway, I do it on a run. In any situation where you're just feeling claustrophobic in your own body or mind, in for 3, out for 5. So healing. I'm a big fan of headspace meditations. I did the pain management pack multiple times this year, and a lot of that too is just breathing and focusing on the body, because the breath is such a healing and powerful vehicle for mindfulness, and staying in the present moment is the way that we can accept crazy bullshit going down. Shout out to breathing. This year really got me through. There were times over the summer where I'd be having a back spasm or just feeling really sad, where I would literally just lay in my bed in the sunshine and breathe for like an hour, holding my little stuffed animal. Highly recommend breathing. Next, I have some body lessons. I'm categorizing this as one thing. I learned that I have Crohn's disease, and also that I need to eat way more protein. Taking care of your bodily self has been one of the primary struggles of adulthood for me. Obviously chronic pain makes this harder and more challenging to navigate, but I think just even as a general rule, figuring out how to feed yourself, what exercise works for you, how much sleep you need, etc., as you grow up and enter the adult world in a different context than you maybe ever have before. And in my case, like, I live in a different city than I grew up in for most of my life. Physically figuring out how to take care of myself has been really hard. I also don't really like to cook, so that's another layer. This whole health journey this year, and just like going to doctor after doctor and trying so many different ways of eating before I figured out what was actually wrong, made me so mindful of my body, and I realized I do not eat enough protein at all, or I didn't. So prioritizing eating protein has been huge for my levels of energy and just like sanity and mental health. I have way less crashes throughout the day, especially working a job where I'm on my feet all day, I'm talking to people, I'm interacting with people. If I don't have the right amount of fuel going into that shift, whew, my day is going to not go great, and I'm going to make it worse for all the people around me. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for taking concentrated time and energy to just figure out what's going on with your body. I will be the first to say, like, going to the doctor gives me anxiety. That was one of the biggest reasons that it took me so long, I think, to figure this out, is I just put it off. Going to the doctor is scary, and it costs money, and health insurance is stressful. Boy, oh boy, I feel like a different person now that I have this information. And I think the value of getting that information, especially while you're still young, is that now I know how to take care of myself better for the rest of my life. Obviously there will be more to learn, more sickness will happen, etc., but I feel a lot more equipped to deal with it now, which is huge. When I tell you that your bodily health improving literally changes your entire life, it's crazy. I feel like a different person. I know I say that in every video, but whew, you guys. The next thing I learned is that I deserve attention. And I know this is gonna sound like the most Leo bullshit you've ever heard, but let me talk about my relationship for a second. In July of this year, a 3-year relationship that I was in ended. It was very shocking for me, not like altogether surprising in retrospect. It just, like, the way it happened was really shocking, and it's not a relationship that I am mourning. In fact, I'm grateful that it ended, and have since had half of a year to reflect on all of the ways that I, like, wasn't honored and loved by my partner, but also, like, by myself. When you are in a relationship, it is very easy to get your self-worth from your partner, to feel beautiful or smart, whatever, interesting, when your partner tells you you are. I'm not saying that that is fully the case for me, and that's not what the case fully was in this relationship, but now that I am not in that relationship, I've just, like, realized all the ways that I diminished my own beauty and didn't have fun with my appearance and who I am and my sexuality, and just, like, I don't know, being the fullest expression of my womanly self. That relationship ending has provided me not only time to reflect, but also, like, if you scroll through my Instagram starting in August, I'm a different person. Like, I feel so much more into myself, but, like, in a really positive way that is making me feel beautiful and fun and attractive and more like myself. And I think that that power is really magnetic. Like when you can take the opportunity to be like, no, I'm beautiful, people will be drawn to that. It's really powerful to believe in yourself in that way. I deserve attention. Like I deserve that attention from myself, and I deserve to give myself the affirmation and assurance that I rock. I rock. So I also learned that I rock. Okay. Next I learned that breaking down allows space to build. You can also frame this as rejection is redirection. Both of those apply to some of the things I encountered this year. Much of this year felt like a crumbling of not only my external circumstances, this relationship, my health, but also internal thought patterns, things that I prioritized, things that I thought about myself really were shattered this year in a way that was, for much of this year, extremely horrifying. And I felt and still kind of feel very lost and unsure of who I am or what I'm doing or what I even want. And that's really scary. And I can so potently feel and have experienced already how much space that is opening up for magic, I guess, for whatever I want. As a 26-year-old who is feeling kind of lost, that's really powerful. Like that means that there's opportunity and I'm not stuck, I'm not trapped, even though sometimes it feels that way. I am evolving, and part of evolution is destruction. I think this is a lesson that I've like realized but not fully internalized, which is why I want to vocalize and talk through it here. Trying to become more comfortable with the crumbling process, because I understand that you need the darkness to get to the light. I'm trying to take solace in that and not see it so much as a pause or as a setback, but more it's like it's a step forward. Like sometimes for things to change you need some crazy bullshit to go down. Boy oh boy did some crazy bullshit go down this year. The last lesson that I already knew, it's my favorite lesson. It's that friendship is the meaning of life. This is an ode to my friends. My entire life is an ode to my friends, because I would be no one and nothing without my people, especially in a year where I suffered a lot. Had I not had the ear, the joy, the affirmation, the assurance, the spontaneity, the wisdom, the care of my friends, I would not have survived. Even in the moments where I was feeling the most physically and mentally awful and unlike myself, I still had moments where I was sitting and laughing with my friends or gossiping or just like chit-chatting, and it's like, ah yes, like this is why we're here. Like this is the reason. And especially in a time when I needed people, that's a really scary thing to need people. Felt so overwhelmed with love and gratitude all year for the ways that my people were willing to show up for me. I think it's a testament to the power of humanity and friendship and the fact that we are here on earth to love each other. That is my spiritual hippy dippy vibe of the day, vibe of life. I really do think that friendship is like something to tether to in any kind of situation, whether you physically need someone, mentally, emotionally. Like we are here to help each other through life, and the ways that I'm able to help my friends are some of the most meaningful things that I've done. This is a lesson, like I said, that I think just was solidified in such a visceral way. Like I had friends taking me to doctor's appointments and literally like physically caring for me throughout so much of this year. Special shout out to my roomie bestie Mel. Literally my family. I haven't seen her in like a week and a half since I'm in my childhood home for the holidays, and I texted her the other night and was like, are we codependent? Because I miss you. Cultivating good friends is the actual way to make it through life. I will tell you that right now. Okay everyone, if you made it this far, shout out. I really appreciate you, and this was a really tough year. You know what? It also had some of the best moments of joy of my life. I'm ending the year overall feeling really grateful and a little nervous and lost going into a new year, which we'll get more into during my intentions video. But overall, I know that I have my people. I've become so much more solidified in myself and caring for myself and like having tools to do that. I'm happy to be here, which is great. Please go do something that makes you happy today. You so totally deserve it. I'll see you on Wednesday for a little bit of intention setting. We won't go crazy. I'm feeling really overwhelmed by the start of a new year, but it's okay. One day at a time, keep breathing, eat some protein, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.